inflammatory about certain individuals on my content, I'm willing to, like, if I lose a job for talking bad about Trump or Elon Musk, I don't want that job. I'd rather be unemployed than have to say, look, well, maybe there's a way to look at this positively. There's a lot of people who think Elon Musk and Trump are doing really good things for the government. They think they're cutting unnecessary spending because they don't know the value of the programs that are being cut. They look at cuts to the Department of Education as a good thing. There's an interesting post. Actually, let me see. It's actually on my Instagram. Let's see. We can actually read some of these comments together to see how the other side views issues, because it's important that we don't live in an echo chamber. Functionally, by watching my stream, you are sort of in an echo chamber because you're reinforcing. This is the wrong thing. We are reinforcing some of the same stuff we already believe. Like watching me, like you probably wouldn't watch me if you didn't have my same political opinions, and if you have my same political opinions, functionally this streams are an echo chamber. But I'm smart, based, and sexy, so it's actually okay when we do that on my side. Let's zoom out a little bit. Leave is censor. Oh, the racial slurs. Yeah, and these Instagram people are acting like Instagram people. So let's read this thing. In Doge Alert 2020, a loophole allowed individuals in, and again, Doge is Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, for those who don't know. It's not a real organization, but it's a pseudo-organization made by Trump that's functioning because the people are assuming in the government that Trump is signing off on everything Elon Musk is doing. And if you listen to conservatives talk about it, they're saying that it is an actual organization and they should be allowed to do whatever they want. But they have to say that because Elon Musk and Trump have stated people who disagree with them will be primaried. That is, Elon Musk and Trump will say vote for the other person. But here we go. Individuals in other countries could file blank U.S. tax returns showing zero income and receive COVID relief checks, even if they had only visited the United States once on a work visa. That means if you came for random reasons, you were here for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you're doing some contract work, then you go back and didn't even make any money, and say you don't make any money, you could potentially make a check. That's the idea. That's what they're stating. This resulted in an estimated $423 million being sent to non-U.S. citizens, including $34 million to those with foreign addresses. I don't think this is true. I don't think there's evidence of this. And they're not posting the evidence. But I have a friend in Europe who heard many folks were filing out and filling blank 2020 U.S. taxes showing zero income for that year and receiving COVID relief checks sent to Europe. All they needed was to have visited the U.S. sometime in their life and any kind of work visa. My friend has visited the United States one time in 2007 and only a few weeks on the temporary student work visa, so we tried it. Sure enough, he received a U.S. Treasury for $1,800. Now, a couple things have to be explained there very quickly. During the COVID relief era, the idea was we need to get as much money out to people as possible so that the economy doesn't collapse in on itself. It is very difficult for the government to means test. That is, do you need this money before we give it to you? So the easiest way for a government to make sure an economy doesn't crash is to basically give blank checks to everybody in the country. And then when it's time to file taxes, you usually would have to be honest about how much money you actually made. And if you adjust for that money that came in, you'd get a higher percentage of taxes on people who did not need that $1,800. Now, in this case, it was actually slightly different. There wasn't if you made a bunch of money, you were if you made more than $7,500, $75,000, I'm pretty sure you were still included to get your money. Again, the goal was hey, people need to pay rent. Hey, people need to do this. They couldn't use their savings, right? Now, as there are always going to be loopholes, of course, the biggest loopholes were actually Congress people and other people like certain business people and scammers getting PPE loans, upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars that the United States government forgave, like Marjorie Taylor Greene. But needless to say, a bunch of people got money. This was the simplest way to do it. The IRS is supposed to correct for that. The IRS is not able to correct for that because we keep cutting the IRS. Now, a lot of stuff. And to all people that sounded confusing to, I'll be explaining different tax-related stuff in some capacity. Just business and icon-related stuff. So it'll be easier to understand the more I do this content. But let's read comment number 1. I'm sure you guys have already read. Oh, yeah, I have a friend who had big thing. Brad mentioned very important. When someone says this happened to a friend of mine, you don't you just assume it's just a lie, unless the friend is saying that it happened to them and is willing to show proof. People just lie about stuff. That's the same level of evidence that Joe Rogan said there was a person who identified as a cat who had their teacher put a kitty litter box in the classroom so the child could use the bathroom in the classroom, which never happened anywhere in the United States, right? There's the most liberal classroom in America would not allow someone to use the bathroom in the classroom with everybody else there. Even if that person decided to bring their own kitty litter box in their bag, they'd still have to go into the bathroom stall to set that up, because you just can't do that, right? My friend's uncle's coworker said that they were giving away $500 trillion to gay disabled immigrants. It's true. Yeah, that's how they're getting the surgeries. That's how they got the surgeries. Let's read it. Doge needs to be made permanent. The corruption iceberg runs deep, and it will be business as usual if Doge disbands it in July of 2026. If Doge disbands, right? So, the big issue is these people likely don't know a damn thing about any government department. They're just taking all their information from sites like Doge Official. Why are we paying taxes again? Because this person, Metal Monkey, based on the work that he does in drug, probably lives in a red state, which cannot function without the money that blue states, like the ones that I've lived in, create via the tax surpluses that we have to fund programs that, and even probably the business that he worked for, exist on some sort of tax subsidies. So we are paying taxes, him included, and people like myself included, to subsidize his living, because red states are a drain on the U.S. economy. I think like Texas might not be. I think Texas, maybe even Florida. I think Texas and Florida are decently productive. And if not, they will be shortly. Their populations are growing great. Dude, I am in the U.S., filed my taxes, and never received a COVID check, even though I was supposed to. Oh, well, they are, and it's actually not they are. They lost somewhere on someone else. Just if you just put the A. And it's not, is it weird that people who can't spell are the ones complaining? That's a dumb critique. It's a dumb critique. But I mean, look, that's a real issue. I didn't receive one of my COVID tax checks, and that's because of a failure to file my taxes correctly in 2020 when I was doing Uber first time. That was on me. But also, I was like, hey, these COVID relief funds are mostly for people who don't have any money. I at the time was doing Uber, and I'm like making $45K at the time per year. Not great, it's not amazing, especially in New England, but I'm like, I can survive by working, so I don't need this relief. Would have helped me, certainly, but when I realized I wasn't gonna get the check, I went to work. That was because I could do that, because I'm a fucking man. Like these fucking lazy guys. That's the other thing, like these guys are such babies. We need a tax refund. You get tax refunds. That's a thing that happens, and you might not get it because of the amount of people are going to be fired from the IRS. So we might not have tax refunds, but we're still going to have taxes for the foreseeable future. And the interesting thing, speaking of taxes and tax refunds, you can get tax refunds that are pretty high when you're in the lower income brackets, especially too. But if we have tariffs, which are a tax on businesses that buy products. So again, we've explained tariffs before. I'll always explain it again. When a business buys something from overseas, they pay a company in China, Mexico, Canada, for whatever a good like steel, right? Maybe wheat from Ukraine or something. A tariff is a tax. So like the US government says, hey, we need about, 10% of the value of this product needs to be given to us. So if it's $100 worth of steel, you need to give us $10. So that's what's happening to China basically right now. Chinese companies. So China doesn't pay any of that money. China still gets $100 for the steel. The U.S. doesn't. That's $10, and now these companies need to charge an extra bit of money to keep at their same profit levels. They need to add that $10 into their bottom line. So if that happens, that becomes a tax on the American consumer, and there is no refund for that sort of tax. So when Trump wants to replace income tax, which is something he wants to do, with tariffs, there was no tax refund under that government system, right? So products don't get cheaper as it stands right now. But yeah, basically, yeah, it's just no kidding. So tired of being called a conspiracy theorist. The thing is, they are a conspiracy theorist because Elon Musk has not provided evidence of any of these claims. Let's look here. But yeah, look, you guys get the point. Biden and Harris need to go to prison for high treason. That doesn't even make sense. All Biden did was pass a bill that Congress did. So all of Congress would need to go to prison. But yeah, that's enough of that. Elon Musk expected to rule in judge expected to rule in 24 hours on case that aims to sharply curtail Musk's Doge. We'll go into some of this. As U.S. judge said on Monday, she hopes to rule in 24 hours in a lawsuit that aims to protect the information systems at major government agencies from Elon Musk's Doge team, when President Donald Trump was tasked with overhauling the government. The U.S. District, it's Judge Judkin. That was one of the judges that ruled against Donald Trump in the New York case. Or not the New York case, right? Well, they ruled against Donald Trump in one of their cases. Heard arguments on Monday from President's Day when the federal courts are closed to consider an emergency request by 13 Democratic state attorneys seeking to block Musk and Doge from accessing government systems and firing employees at 7 agencies. The reason this is important, Musk is just going through firing a bunch of people and trying to basically stop funding for different agencies. Musk is of the belief that to fix something in the government, you get rid of everything first, and then if you need it, you add it back, because that's what he said during his press conference. Now, the reason he probably believes this is because, 1, he's an idiot. 2, his brain doesn't work. 3, he's a Nazi. He did a Nazi salute. But 4, the actual reason is because he works in tech companies. That's generally the practice. When things are getting difficult, they just fire off the employees because you want to look good to your investors. Investors like when you have a fast, quick solution to problems. So you get rid of a bunch of people, and it makes it look like you're saving money, right? When money was tighter during 2021, I believe, our interest rates were lower. You guys don't need to know what interest rates are. Basically, there was less money available for tech companies, so they fired a bunch of people, and then 3-4 months later, they hired a bunch of people back. So Google fired Google or Facebook, one of these two, fired around 10,000 employees, and then a couple months later hired 6,000 employees back. So it's like they got rid of everybody. I'm like, oh, these systems don't work without these people. So then they didn't hire the same people, but they hired a new group of people. Now, the benefit of doing this is you can hire people at lower wages. You can scare people into not being able to resist it. People are more likely to try and not bring up issues with leadership because they're worried about losing their job. They don't advocate for themselves as much, basically. But yeah. I hate that people still praise or even respect that guy. He's literally said that some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. Yeah, like, the interesting thing is, despite him, like, it's an interesting fallacy we'll talk about later. Interesting is, he's less confident in everything he says than the people who are worshiping him. Simply. Seriously, that dude has generally the most unlikable human being alive, right? Second most to Trump. He's such an idiot. And he's not a real gamer. Which I don't know why he needs to be a gamer. Why does he need to pretend he's good at video games? But yeah, that's about it for that. There's some more information here which is of value. But it seems right now we're still waiting on the judge rules. But basically they're trying to freeze him and Connor Eats Pants playing together was insane. Yeah, right. That was when when Musk was still pretending to be Adrian Dittman. Is that the name? Yeah, to be fair, Connor was talking shit about him. In that. Like, at least I can see a fraction of the appeal for Trump. He's like funny. At least Trump is funny. He's an idiot. He is our next bro is dragging his head. He was, right? Funny, I guess, but Musk is actually like a 7-year-old knows. Yeah, right. Actually, absolutely. Fuck Elon. Fuck Trump. Fuck the polar bear coin. Good luck, y'all. Connor, it was hilarious. Connor W. Real. Connor Q, actually. Let's start using Q for a dub instead. Now that I think about it. We'll wrap this up because that's actually not any new information. This story was interesting. Brazil's Lula backs oil exploration in Amazon ahead of hosting UN climate talks, which I think is interesting. So basically, it's a short story, but he's like, look, we need money to fuel the transition to green energy, and we can make a lot of money if we allow oil exploration in the Amazon. It's like, but no, sir, we want green energy, so we're not using oil. It is expensive. It's expensive to do green energy. Like, the most effective green energy is nuclear power. I've explained nuclear power one time here. We'll save that for another time. I've rotted your guys' brains enough with economics. But nuclear power, I think it costs like, how much does it cost to build a nuclear power plant? How much? What are you asking? When can we get a Fortnite on Friday? I could do Fortnite on Friday sometimes. This is the commuter. How much does a nuclear power plant cost? There we go. No, that's not the question. The cost of building a nuclear power plant is, okay, that's great per kilowatt hour. I just need to know how much the actual plant cost. A medium-sized, we'll say. I can't spell it all right now. I just need to know, like, cool. So a power plant can cost $4 to $9 billion if it's a medium-sized one. I don't know how big their area is. And again, power plants have a varying usefulness. South American governments are actually beyond parity. Yeah, a lot of these, a lot of wild stuff going on, especially with Javier Milei in Chile, which we'll do. I'm debating doing like a full-on, economics, global economics subject. Well, we have to come up with a name. Like right now, technically, I'm in the secret section. This isn't Skelly News. This is all going on the second channel, and this is a lot more loose and like kind of more random. But nuclear power is good. If you guys have to take away a lot from my streams. Nuclear power is very good. We should like nuclear power. It's less dangerous than every other form of energy. Even the most recent nuclear meltdowns, I think the nuclear meltdown in Tokyo, which is the most recent one, I think 2 people died. How many people died in is it Fukushima? Was it Fukushima? Oops. Fukushima, I believe. Yeah. Okay, that's not even... no one died. So, most deadly recent nuclear issue in 2018, no one died. Most recent death on oil rig. Yeah, that's not no one. December 18th, an incident in Andrews County, 35-year-old oil worker died. Texas leads nation in oil industry related deaths. So, safety-wise, it's, not really. Texas, which is the nation's largest oil producer, leads the U.S. with the most deaths, 219, followed by 18. Is this since 2019? Oh, wait. First of its kind study relies on a federal workplace data from 2014 through 2019, tracked 470 deaths among industry. So, unfortunately, nuclear power is always going to have a stigma because people get scared of the term for now. Yeah, because people are babies and idiots, and they get scared like, oh, nukes. Like, we spend so much energy and time making nukes. There's a positive use of nuclear energy, and it's fueling our entire country. I think France is which European country is mostly run by nuclear? European country uses nuclear energy. Several UN countries I think France is probably number one. The fact that it's one, right? Of the 32 countries that operate nuclear power plants, only France, Slovakia, Ukraine, and Belgium use them as a source for a majority of the country's electricity supply as of 2021. One of Ukraine's power plants got shut down, obviously, during the Ukrainian war. Well, not obviously. I don't know if you guys... I don't know how you guys keep up with that. But, yeah, it's pretty wild. It's, obvious. We're hitting around 9 o'clock. We've been live for about an hour and a half. We could switch to the gaming section in a sec. I want to see if there's anything else I wanted. Oh, TikTok. Right. Okay, one last thing. I don't know if I'm going to edit this bit at all. I don't like to edit my second channel stuff. I like to just leave it as a full VOD. So, if you're right now, you're watching, you're in like half an hour into the second part of the channel. But if you're watching this, second channel people, and you second channel people are real nerds, because I don't even have edits for this. This is just boring business bullshit. Join the Discord again. You have to be an ally. No bigots. Anyway, last thing, ByteDance director confident TikTok will get deal done, sees options to avoid outright sale. So we loosely talked about TikTok in the Discord a little bit. I did want to talk about it a little bit here because I know the sale of TikTok's important to, like young audiences especially. But I'm right now uncertain we get a deal done because the U.S. mostly wants a sale to a U.S. company, and ByteDance doesn't want that to happen. Apparently, their tones changed slightly recently, probably because they realize that Trump is not going to do any or reasonable research into how a company operates or is having its open, the data operates. Trump's actually become less hawkish on China recently, which is interesting because I think it's mostly a result of the Democrats don't like China. And if the Democrats don't like something, Trump has to like it. That's just how his brain works. But a majority shareholder of ByteDance, the Beijing-based owner of TikTok, said that Wednesday he was confident that a deal would be reached to ensure the video sharing app stays online in U.S. and suggested there may be options for short of divestiture. That means Chinese companies don't have to get rid of their stock. And that's the real issue. Chinese companies would rather the company not exist in the United States than they get rid of it, than they don't get the money or profits from it. TikTok received a lifeline this week from President Trump, who issued an executive order delaying the enforcement and national ban by 75 days while China-based ByteDance seeks an American buyer. The app remains online after a brief shutdown last weekend. Bill Ford, the CEO of ByteDance, shareholder of General Atlantic, who also sits on the TikTok parent's board of directors, said it's in everybody's interest to hammer out an agreement following Trump's order. We'll get it on as soon as we'll go on with it as soon as maybe the end of the week. In terms of negotiation, that might work. Ford told Axios during the event at Economic Summit in Davos, Switzerland. Functionally, this dude's basically just saying we need to find some way that U.S. has 50% ownership and China has another 50% ownership. And basically, he's just swallowing Trump's balls. Trump good, Biden administration bad. This was mostly pushed by Congress. I mean, I'm thinking you have to remember the difference between things that happened in the Biden-Harris administration and Trump administration that were because of the president or because of Congress. Right now, almost everything that's happening in the government is directly because of Trump, because he's signing executive orders and the Congress doesn't have time to react to them. So it's between Trump and the courts. Most of the things that happened during Biden's presidency were passed by the House. So we got politicians who actually agree to it. But that's all we wanted to talk about that. They think they could get a deal done. I am pessimistic on it because there's no way China and Trump are going to agree because Trump wants to win. And the only way that Trump wins is if China gets rid of most of their stock, or Trump's an idiot and he doesn't understand how the deals work. And he is an idiot. So your luck is if nobody can explain to Trump in a way that's accurate and he's dumb, he was like, we're going to sign it through regardless. But that is going to wrap up our second section of the Skelly News segment of Skelly News. Let's full screen it. And let's go to gaming. We'll see what we do. I don't know if I want to do some community games. We can yap a little bit before I get started. W News section. Oh, yeah. A lot of stuff. I really need to make this a recurring theme. I mean, I just decided not to. I'll probably still work later tonight. A lot of stuff to go over. The last few times I did Skelly News, it was just react a little bit more, but recently I've been hopping on to do some reading. In the future, once we get when we have 50 people in here or more, which I think I could, again, if I can stream 3 nights a week, I think we could have a consistent 50 viewer base by the end of this year. I honestly think I could do that. Especially if I can keep uploading stuff on the channel. We do need to do, I didn't